Good morning, everyone. I'm John Yearwood. I'm the world editor of the Miami Herald, actually, most recently the world editor of the Miami Herald. And currently I serve as the executive board chairman of the International Press Institute. I'm based in Miami, and I'm really happy to see everyone so much awake after, for many of us, it's been a long night and morning. And I know that the president talked a little bit about that a few minutes ago. I'm really thrilled to have this conversation that's coming up next with someone who deserves who needs no introduction, because many of you know him very well in this region. He is Sultan Bin Sulayem from DP World, the chairman. And we're going to talk about the ports as well as some innovation in the region that's happening. And I think it's really exciting, and I think that you will agree, will be very beneficial, not only to people in this region, but also those of you from Latin America. So, Mr. Chairman, why don't we start, as I ended, by Latin America and talk about the strategy that DP World has for Latin America.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to address this distinguished delegates, and I had the opportunity of meeting some of them actually yesterday in DP World. As you are aware, DP World, we are today in about over 70 terminals around the world. Latin America is very important for us. We've seen growth, and that mirrors our investment actually in Latin America. And we are actually developing based on our experience of what worked for us here in Dubai. And if you look at Dubai, our home base, the free zone is a main driver in our business here. In Dubai, it helped the port to develop and attract business and anchor business actually in the port by basically accommodating companies of various activities. We started in Latin America with San Domingo, with Buenos Aires, and with a small terminal in Venezuela, which we don't have now. But we expanded into Brazil, into Lima in Peru, and another greenfield in Ecuador. In Dominican Republic, we started a logistic park. Dominican Republic basically serves as a gateway to the East Coast of America, and a lot of cargo coming from Latin America is retrans-shipped from San Domingo. We expanded our business actually in Dominican Republic, and this logistic park is situated in a very strategic location between the airport and the port. And so it is port, logistic park, and an airport. This kind of a combination is very crucial for success of a logistic park. Now, we have the same thing in Dubai. We have Jebel Ali Port, logistic park, and Dubai Airport. The combination of this allows the most efficient activity in a logistic park. In a logistic park, it is very important to be very efficient. At the end of the day, whoever is going to use the port want to enjoy the cheapest service as far as cost-wise. So if the operation costs him cheaper, it's going to be much better. Avoiding duplication, avoiding unnecessary handling of cargo is very important. Efficient customs procedures are crucial. It is not important that the port can handle cargo quickly. The problem is also, unless the customs can also accommodate the number of cargo that's coming, then the quantities is not going to work. So basically, our strategy is to mirror what we did in Dubai by having logistics, a free zone, industrial parks, and a port. The combination of will result in more cargo coming and more added value.
You know, your park in the Dominican Republic, I've actually been there, and what you've done there is really incredible. I'm wondering, are you planning on having a similar kind of operation at your other ports around Latin America?
Definitely. Where it allows us, meaning if there is land, it will work. In Jebel Ali, we could do it because we have the land. In Dominican Republic, the minute we arrived, I spoke to our partners that this land between the port and the airport, we should start thinking about it. It took a while, but we did it. And I believe it's a very successful operation, and we are going to invest more in Dominican Republic. We have also a same plan in Ecuador. It's a greenfield, very interesting location, and we are intending also to put logistic park as well as industrial park behind it. Where it is possible, we have to do it.
You know, that brings up a really interesting question, which I'm going to ask you in a minute about innovation. But before I do, I want to take an opportunity to remind everyone that you can send questions on your app, and there'll be an opportunity to ask questions, not only take from the audience, there are microphones around the conference center, as well as sending questions to the app. But let me ask you about innovation. I mean, I know that you're expanding well beyond the port, for which you are most well known. Talk about sort of some of the innovation that's being introduced in your business.
Well, there's a saying that necessity is a mother of invention. And this is really the issue. We innovate, not because we want to innovate. We innovate because we want to make our business better. So in automation, for example, this is the biggest innovation we have. And why did we innovate in automation? Because when the shipping line build big vessels, we have to build bigger cranes. And the bigger the crane becomes, the higher it's going to be. And we reach a point where the crane driver cannot really see clearly when he carries the container. And it's a very tedious job. And so we did, I think, a few years ago, we did a trial on automation of a small crane in Busan, in Korea, in our port. And it worked. And then when we did the big Terminal 3 for the big vessels in Jebel Ali, we insisted in having automation. So now, for example, our crane is remotely controlled. Not necessarily you have a crane driver on top, which, because of the nature of the job, you have to change him every 3 hours. The crane job is a very difficult, a lot of jerking, and person cannot withstand the operation without more than 3 hours. Now, actually, when we announced we're going to have the automation, I was surprised that many female actually employees applied. And today we have female crane operators in Jebel Ali operating 1, 2, and our target to go to 3, 4, and 8 cranes with one operator. So this really helps us to be more efficient. There are many others as far as the plant maintenance that we use, as far as safety is concerned. Innovation is related to efficiency in our case. And of course, if you look at our business today, the customs is highly innovative in their procedures. Today we process more than 20 million documents. And if you look at it in numbers, that's more than 1.5 million a month. That is more than 50,000 documents processed a day, which means it's not just a document, it is really processed, which means there is inspection, there is paying duty, custom duty, complying with the requirement of health, agriculture, all that. So you can't do more than 50,000 documents, process them a day, unless you are highly, basically, technical in your operation. And so there where the innovation and the EDI kicks in.
You know, I mentioned that you're expanding well beyond ports. I want to relates to some of the innovation you're doing. There's been some news lately about your Loop project. I wonder if you're interested in giving us an update in terms of where that stands at this point. For anyone who has seen the video of this Loop project, it's amazing what's possible.
Let me tell you, our vision is to be in charge of the cargo from the factory floor till the customer door. It's very important. There are a lot of inefficiencies in the supply chain, a lot of inefficiencies, which reflects negatively in us. Even though we have nothing to do with this inefficiency, it just happens that, unfortunately, somebody else down the supply chain doesn't do his job and it delays us. When it comes to Hyperloop, we were aware of Hyperloop about over a year ago. It is a disruptive innovation because their idea is to carry cargo and passenger, but cargo, in our case, bypassing ports. So they will deliver cargo to the logistic parks, not necessarily to the port. So down the line, in a few years, there is no reason why nobody wants to use the ports anymore if that technology becomes reality. And so we discussed with them, and when I was in the States during the summer, I visited the lab, and I've seen the innovation, and I wasn't being able to see more because of their confidentiality, but we ended up actually talking, and we decided that maybe we do an exercise, especially we have a big logistic park, 29 kilometers from Jebel Ali port, next to Al Maktoum Airport, on the rail link of Al Ittihad rail station. And so we thought maybe you can use the Loop as a trial. So we signed an agreement with them. We eventually became a shareholder in Hyperloop just to access more technology. I am heading a group myself personally, which studies how we can utilize that technology efficiently in our business. And we've been doing this study internally ourselves. Hyperloop is doing their job themselves to see how they can utilize our knowledge in operations to cargo carrying methods in Hyperloop. And so we learned so much. In the last 2 months, actually, we learned many interesting ideas on cargo handling because we basically put Hyperloop as an obstacle. How can I handle their cargo on the port? We have to change the way we operate. We have to change the operations of the port. As a port, we don't only handle cargo for Dubai. We sort cargoes for local, for transshipment, for Jebel Ali free zone, and for local market. Gated cargo. And so by adapting a problem of Hyperloop, we managed to find ways that will be more efficient. The exercise really helped us. We haven't yet reached a conclusion that Hyperloop is going to be beneficial for us. We don't know yet. We are still working on it.
I mean, it absolutely blows the mind. Can you give us some sense of when you think you might be at a point to make a decision where that could be the wave of the future?
We were, in our case, as far as the cargo, which we believe the first real operation of Hyperloop will be the cargo. Because for carrying cargo, you don't have a lot of the regulations that you need to adhere to compared to carrying passengers, okay? Now, the cargo, it goes in a semi-evacuated loop or a pipe. For borders, this will be very interesting because the train is not secure enough. Somebody, after they pass the custom, there is no reason why they cannot throw something out the train. The loop, no, you can't. So that will allow easier. Now, we have put as December, we will get some idea. But during our last meeting with them, we still need more time. There are still more and more. Also, I was fascinated by the presentation that was done yesterday regarding Hyperloop. Because when we were with them, they were talking about a big loop which has 2 loops inside it, so a bigger loop, shell, casing. On top of it, there are 2 loops for passenger in and out. In the bottom, there are 2 loops carrying cargo. But what we saw yesterday is really very interesting. It's a development because it is not anymore a bigger loop. It's actually pods. So a pod would carry a few passengers, another pod would carry a car. So what they shown yesterday, that if the Abu Dhabi-Dubai link becomes a reality, then when you're traveling to Abu Dhabi, you could use the loop as you could use the Hyperloop in a pod and sit in a chair, or you could actually put your car in a pod and sit in your car and it will put you there. It's an interesting idea, to be honest with you, because this is much easier than the idea before. So there are a lot of development you can see from the Hyperloop side. They really done a good job. From our side also, we have achieved a lot. We have not shared with them yet our solutions. Like they didn't share their solution with us, which is fine. But it is work in the progress, and we are experts in operations, and that's what we're doing. And we'll reach a stage where we will share information, and we will see if this is going to be beneficial for us. Till today, there is no decision from RTA that they're going to use Hyperloop. There is no decision from DP World we're going to use Hyperloop. But we are studying. The question is, if it's going to become feasible, yes, we will definitely do it. Anything that's going to make our job more efficient, faster, easier, we have to do it.
You know, you talked a little bit about the idea behind your investment in the Hyperloop. Based on some of the questions that we've received via the app, there's an interest by some in the audience about what criteria do you use in terms of investing in ports in various countries?
We are a company that is customer-oriented, so we'll only follow our customers. So, for example, I am a bit shy about greenfields. I don't like them unless I have to. Because a greenfield port, you build ports from scratch, you have no customers, you have to build a customer base, it takes you 3 to 4 years. But in Ecuador, we have to build a greenfield. The reason we went to Ecuador, simply because our customers said, we need you there. And we will go wherever our customer wants us to be. No doubt about it. I don't care where it is. Customers is the person who pays for the charges, pays for our services, and we are committed to serve our customer where we are. So the criteria really is if the customer wants us, then once the customer wants us in a place, we have to see, is it going to be feasible for us to build it there? And if it becomes feasible, we'll go.
How long does the process take from the time you decide to look seriously at a country to this time that you start putting infrastructure there, or making major investments?
Our study, ourselves, doesn't take more than 3 months, but there are regulatory procedures in a country which also we have to go through the regulation, and we are committed to respect any regulation in any country. We are good citizens wherever we go. And naturally, once we receive the green light, we start.
There's also, and also to, let me remind everyone, if you have any questions, that if you can take a position at one of the microphones, we'll recognize you shortly. But I wanted to ask another question about, that was actually passed along via the app. It relates to Brazil.
Yes.
And if you can address, what are your plans for Brazil?
In Brazil, we are today in Umbra Port in Santos. As everyone knows, Brazil is going through difficult times. The economic fundamentals of Brazil are very strong. The country is big, the country is developed. Their problem is more political than economical. Real has devalued naturally. We are committed to Brazil. We're committed to investing in Umbra Port. The situation today with us, basically, we own the land. We have a long-term. Wherever we go, we are long-term investors, which means our concessions average 30 years. Somewhere we have 25, somewhere we have 50, like in Ecuador. So we cannot really judge an investment in a country based on a 5-year. I don't believe Brazil is going to be stagnant for 5 years. So when you look at the whole concession, still it is strong market for us.
But it's interesting talking about the stagnation in Brazil. Brazil has gone through a very difficult period.
Yes.
And how much has that impacted your thinking about investing there?
We invested and we continue to invest and expand the port. And let me tell you, even last year wasn't bad actually in Brazil compared to before. Mm-hmm. So the cargo is coming. The country is facing a problem, but I think it is settled, politically they've settled, and I believe things will progress in Brazil. I'm really confident.
You know, in terms of Brazil, I'm reminded of your Gateway project in London, yes, which is an incredible project. Do you want to talk about how that project came about and the success that it's having in London?
You know, when we bought P&O, on the face of it, the London Gateway was an excess baggage for us. We bought P&O, but we got to take London Gateway with it. But the more we look at it, it's an asset, it has a value, and our strategy, we will invest in basically Africa in emerging markets. We are not that interested in developed market because the market is saturated, it's high developed. So our investment in London Gateway is contrary to some of the strategy we had. What made the change is that our customers wanted London Gateway. London Gateway has advantages. It reminds me of Jebel Ali. It's a very empty area. There's plenty of space, and it's only 35, I believe, kilometers from London. So it's almost in the heart of London. Our competitors are 100 miles from London. And we have a port also ourselves in Southampton, it's 100 miles. There is a move in England to reduce carbon emission, pollution, and we, of course, being in London Gateway, connected by rail, is going to save a lot on emissions. The park in London, because it's not only a port, it's also a logistic industrial park, is very interesting. And so we are copying what we did in Jebel Ali for London. And our business that we get in London for the past few months was ad hoc business. When there are storms in Felixstowe or in Southampton, the ship will come to London Gateway. But we're getting more and more regular businesses, and now we have commitment from shipping line to use the port. We have built logistic parks, common user logistic parks in London, which beginning of this year they were vacant, and now we have too many people who want the same facility to the point where already we're doubling our capacity as far as logistic space of warehouses, which by March we'll have double what we have, and we have many customers who are going to use it. So I am very pleased with London. London, again, is also automated as far as the port is concerned. The logistic park is very attractive to business. The reason we went there, our customer wanted, and we delivered.
Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering, we talked about Brazil and the economic problems that they went through. For many of Latin American business people in the audience who are wondering whether the financial issues that face the region is now in the rearview mirror, what would you tell them who might still have some lingering questions about the financial state of the region, of this region?
Well, I can speak about UAE. United Arab Emirates have invested in diversifying the economy. If you look at our economy in the early 80s, almost 80 to 85% is oil related. If you look at Dubai, we were 75% oil. Today, the whole country is about 25% oil. Dubai is not even 2% oil. We have diversified tremendously into services, into, of course, hotels, hospitality, tourism. Today, the economy is not dependent on oil a lot. But when you look at our business, and again, I can only talk about UAE because I feel this market. The region has gone through many crises. Crises results in also economic crisis. The first crisis was 79 Iraq-Iran war, which impacted the economy, and we survived it. 1990, Iraq attacking Kuwait. That was also instability, but it also affected the economy. 94, 95 was the Far East economic crisis. And of course, at that time, the worst for the oil business, the barrel of oil went to $10, and we survived it. To September 11 was disaster, and in fact, was very bad for tourism, for aviation, and in September 11 it happened. November at the air show, Dubai airline, Emirates Airline, invested $35 billion in the aviation business. And everybody said, you're crazy. But we knew that people, Sheikh Mohammed said, we know that people will not stop traveling. They will travel. It was a good thing. That's what made us. So we always invest. And that is the key. My message is, when things are bad, invest. As a country, as a government. And the problem why many countries did not cope or did not really match what Dubai is doing is that they basically mirror crises with their economic decisions. So Far East crisis, everybody started to cut their budgets and stop their expansion. External forces people to judge their economy. This is not right. And then September, then you talk about 2009. It is a bigger financial crisis that affects the world like cancer. It's no more like the Far East crisis, which were only in the Far East. No, this is worldwide. In America, 240 banks went bankrupt with Ben Stern and then Lehman Brothers and then a domino effect. The whole world suffered. Europe, until today, the market is stagnant. Now, let me give you some figures. Everybody felt that that's it. Dubai have no, basically, means of survival. Dubai has too much debt. Dubai is going to fall. And you've seen pictures of Dubai skyline swallowed by the sand. And many analysts predicted that Dubai is bankrupt, Dubai is going to disappear. Now, let me give you some statistical figures. In the 90s, I think in the 80s, our total trade was about 10 to $15 billion. In the 90s, our total trade never touched more than $40 billion. In the 2003, 2004, we were between 40 to 100 billion. 2009, our total trade was $160 billion. Now, that was a crazy year. It was not a benchmark. We never believed we would reach that. It was crazy. And so 2010, it was below 160. 2011 was below. 2012, we are almost 140. 2014, we are almost close to 160. 2015, almost 250 billion. 2016, we're going to be over $300 billion. That is double the crazy year of 2009. Why did this happen? Very simply, because we invested. If you look at Dubai, Dubai had debts in 2009, 100 or something billion dollar. But what did Dubai do? Dubai invested over $100 billion from 2009 till 2016 in the metro, in the infrastructure, on the roads, on the canal that you see today that is going to be opened. We put money in the market. When the businessman can't, the government have to invest. We believed in our economy. We did not listen to some analysts who live somewhere else to judge our economy. We created our economy. We created our market. We believed in it. And so this is what happened. Now, from today, 2016, till to 2020, when the expo is going to be, another $100 billion of investment Dubai is going. Where are we getting the money? We believe in our economy. This is what made Dubai. We diversify, we move ahead, we make our decisions. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed makes his decision. He doesn't listen to somebody who wrote an article in a newspaper and said Dubai is going to be bad in Dubai, and we go and rush. And during all the crises I mentioned to you, every country, I'm not going to mention names, they will always, the minute that happens, stop the budget, freeze the budget, cancel projects. In Dubai, we do the opposite. We will invest because we believe we cannot put our progress on hold just because there is some crisis. Crisis will come, crisis will go, another crisis will come. That's what we learned from Dubai. And you talk about innovation, and people asking about Hyperloop. Is this going to happen? I don't know. But I give you one thing. In the early days, when UAE was established 46 years ago, the first investment was ports. Port in Abu Dhabi, port in Dubai, and port in every city in the Emirates. Because to create a country, you need port to import, to cope with the development. Now, at that time, the containerization was in its infant stage. If you look at cargo handling in the early 70s, in 69, 70, if you tell somebody that you're going to carry your cargo in a container, they will laugh. Because less than 5% of cargo in 1970 was carried by containers. Yet, God bless his soul, Sheikh Zayed, when he built Port Zayed, he made it a container port. I'm sure people told him, container, nobody carry. No, it's a new business, we want it. Sheikh Rashid, when he built Port Rashid, he insisted to make it a container port, even though containerization was a new innovation, was new, and nobody used it. He never listened to the consultants. Jabal Ali was a container port. So we embrace innovation, we embrace new ideas, because unless you take a chance in the future will miss you.
Mr. Chairman, we're just about out of time, but I want to give anyone an opportunity in the audience to ask one final question before I ask the Chairman the last question. There's...
Good morning. My name is Roman Briceño. I'm coming from Dominican Republic.
I can't hear
His Highness, we are really thank you that you choose Dominican Republic to open Puerto Caucedo. And everything is already set up to trade based on Puerto Caucedo. My question is, we have companies established in Dubai and in Dominican Republic. What will be the three key areas, product, or sector that you believe will be the next step in the trade between Dominican Republic and the Dubai or the Middle East? Because we know that Puerto Caucedo is a logistic hub for the whole Latin America, including the East Coast of United States. But what about Dominican Republic? We do believe that we have a lot of potential. What are that three key products or areas to invest?
Thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't see
the next three key products or areas that between the Dominican Republic and Dubai.
I had the opportunity yesterday to meet with the head of customs of the Dominican Republic, and we discussed a few issues. I think there are tremendous business opportunities in Dominican Republic, but they are fragmented. We need to put them together, meaning there are many services and products that could be of interest in Dubai, but it is for the Dominican government to put them together in one platform. And we discussed about D-Trade, which is basically a platform where today we have a platform in Dubai, for example, where anyone who clears cargo go to Dubai Trade, and he can clear his customs, clear the cargo from the port, get the delivery order, and get his cargo inspected in one click with web or app-based solutions. So this is very important for the Dominican Republic. I believe that that is one thing very important. I think more that will create that. I believe that we need to create more added value operation in Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is a gateway to the East Coast of America. What can we do to have more added value? Because at the end of the day, you need to create jobs, you need to create something in the country. I think also financial services, similar to what we have in Dubai, like the International Finance Center. This is something that I think will be very important in Dominican Republic.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. President, I think you had a question?
Yes.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations for this forum. I think it's very timely. And my question is related to natural gas prices, the production, Texas, Oklahoma, through fracking. Wouldn't we have an opportunity today, listening to you about this, logistics, ports, imports, trading, exports? I think Mexico, as mentioned there, can be a bridge to 1 billion people, to a market of gross product of 10 trillion, which is Latin America. But how competitive can you get with gas or oil coming from this region to America, in the case specific of Mexico? How competitive can be that price?
I don't understand the question.
How competitive can the price be with oil, natural gas coming from Mexico, Latin America to Dubai?
I don't know. One thing I don't know is the oil and gas business. I'm not really very familiar with it. We handle it in the port, we handle it in other areas, but this is not my field of expertise, I'm sorry. But naturally, I only know one thing. When it comes to gas, because we handle it, gas, it doesn't matter if you have gas. The most important with gas is you have somebody to use it. Oil, if you discover an oil field, you can always discover it and close it. A gas, if you open it, you have to use it or burn it. So always pipeline to production facilities are very important. My recommendation for people who are who have gas is really to have a production facilities close to it. Downstream processing is very important. And especially today, in my opinion, with the oil and gas prices are low, it is worth it to do more downstream. Because you look at a barrel of oil today, probably you could produce something, 1 liter of it is more, you can sell it for more than the barrel of oil. But again, that's not my field, but I believe there has to be projects for fertilizers, for chemical, petrochemical, closer to the oil fields or to the gas field. Because today, a lot of it is processed in countries where they don't have the gas anyway. But I'm sorry if I can't answer more. That's as much as I know.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for the question. And Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, we're out of time. I just want to take the opportunity to invite those of you in the audience who would like to participate, particularly in the next session. It will be in Spanish, so we invite you to collect your headsets at some point during the break that's coming up so that you can follow and participate in the next session. Please join me in thanking the chairman for his participation. Thank you very much.